everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be wrapping up April. I'm going to be talking about every book that I read throughout the month, and I'm also going to be talking about the ones I didn't get to finish. And finally, I will talk about the ones that I am going to be reading in the month of May 2021. Okay, let's start with the ones that I did not finish, which is this lovely stack right here. And honestly, the majority of these books are books that I've had on the go for a number of months now that I just haven't brought myself to finishing. So let's just quickly go over this one. So the first book is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I started this very late in the month of April, and I started it and just couldn't get into it. I know it's one of those books that I will, once I pick up some steam on reading it, I will enjoy it. However, I just wasn't in the mood, and I was feeling like I was going into a little bit of a reading slump. So I ended up picking up something that I knew I would be able to breeze through. And this one is still on my list. So I'm right now on page 82. And so, yeah, I didn't get to finish this one this month. The next one that I started this month that I did not finish is You Are a Badass: How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. I talk about this book in my last video. This is the first self-help book I ever picked up for myself, and probably the best one that I've ever read to date. And I'm just over halfway through, and my intention is to read it in its completion. Sometimes I'll pick it up over the years and just read a couple of sections here and there. But this time around I do want to read the whole thing. So I do see myself finishing this one off pretty quick throughout the month of May, but it didn't get finished in April, so that's why it's here. The next three are ones that I've already talked about in my other book, like reading vlogs and stuff like that. They're ones that I've had on the go for a while now that I just haven't brought myself to finish. So we're going to breeze through these ones. The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself by Michael A. Singer. I'm almost done this one, on page 136. I'm super close to being done. I just need to do it. Just need to get there. Then there is my book of essays, which is When We Are Bold: Women Who Turn Our Upside-Down World Right, edited by Rachel M. Vincent. This one again is one that I've had on my nightstand for a while, and I just pick it up every so often and read an essay here and there. It's not one that I'm planning on just blowing through. This is one that I'm taking my time with. I'm savoring this one. And finally, Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. This one I've also been reading for a number of months, and this is, my education book. You can see that I have some little stickies, and I really do want to get through this one. I'm just over halfway through, and I do want to get through this one because it's interesting, and I feel like I've lost my touch, I've lost the connection with wanting to learn more about Wicca, so I do want to hop back in because I know that once I do start again, I'm going to feel that connection again. So yeah, this is another one I have not finished. So those are all the books that I did not finish in the month of April. I don't know if I'm going to pick every single one up again in May. I'll talk about my May TBR in a little bit, but let's talk about the ones that I did finish during the month of April. I only have one of them in my possession at the moment. The other two I had borrowed from the library. The one that I do have, I read Sea Swept by Nora Roberts. This one is book one of the Chesapeake Bay saga. So there's 4 books in this saga, and I read the first one. I had picked up The Handmaid's Tale and wasn't vibing with it, and then I decided I needed something to just get me out of this little bit of a reading slump. I know what to expect with a Nora Roberts book, and a lot of times I just, a nice easy storyline is one that I can vibe with when I am not feeling like picking up something that requires me to really think. So these are kind of my little go-to books if I'm feeling low on my book reading situation. So just pick this one up. To give you a little bit of information about it, the series is about a group of 4 boys who were all adopted into the same family, so they're brothers. They're called the Quins. And the first book is about Cameron, the oldest brother, and we kind of see from his perspective the way he's navigating through some issues that are going on. His father passes away, so he kind of rallies together with his brothers to kind of figure out what they're going to do because his father was in the process of adopting another young boy named Seth. And the father made all the brothers promise to take care of Seth because the adoption hadn't completely gone through yet. So the father, on his deathbed was saying please, you have to keep him, you have to take him in as your own. So we get to see from Cameron's perspective what it's like to go from living in Europe in like the fast lane racing and then having to kind of put all that on pause and coming back to his small town where he grew up. And obviously, of course, because it's a Nora Roberts book, Cameron has a love interest that kind of pops up, and it makes him question, you know, his lifestyle as to whether he really does want to keep going around just sleeping around or whether he wants to settle down. And so, I mean, very, very typical Nora Roberts. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And the reason I marked it like that is because I did not like the dialogue. Nora Roberts was like trying really hard, it seemed, to make the brothers sound very like men. And it was almost too extreme. Like, she was just using a lot of swear words, and she was using kind of derogatory terms towards women. And that just didn't flow very well for me. I just found I had a hard time reading it. So that was definitely a hard part. This book came out in 1998. So I think she probably would not have written like this were it a little further in the future, because there were some stuff that I was like, whoa, like that's not correct. Like, you can't say shit like that, you know? So that definitely diminished some marks for me. And I found the book at the end, all of a sudden it seemed like she was like, shit, like I'm meeting my quota of pages. I need to like fit everything I had planned in a very short amount of time. So there were like a gajillion things that happened just right at the end of the book. And the cliffhanger was just pretty low key, like nothing very serious happened at the end, even though there's 3 other books. There was no like serious cliffhanger. I put 3, I would maybe do like 2.75 if I had the opportunity to kind of like adjust. Like on Goodreads, you can only do like full stars out of 5. So I think in reality, I think I marked this like a 2.75. But I mean, I have the other 3 books lined up, and I'm planning on reading the second one this coming month. So that was the first one. The Nora Roberts book is the last one that I read in the month of April. I finished it in the span of like, I think like 7 or 8 days, right at the end of the month. The first book that I finished in the month of April was A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. And I think I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I did really enjoy it. That book is also part of the All Souls trilogy, so there's 2 other books that follow that one. My plan is not to read the next ones just yet. I'm not really feeling in the mood. I went on like a fantasy kick for a little while, and then now I'm kind of like settling back into maybe more of like just the fiction realm. So yeah, but about that book in particular, the main character is Diana, and she is a witch. However, she does not like to use her powers. You know, she's older now, and she never really learned how to develop her powers. Her parents both died when she was really young. They were both very powerful as a witch and as a wizard, but after they died, Diana just did not feel like it was right for her to use her abilities. So she ended up living with her aunt and her aunt's partner. She just kind of always pushed that side of her away. She just wanted to be normal. She didn't want to have to like live in that world where she had to learn spells and such. She does a lot of research into the history of science. That's kind of her realm of expertise, and you know, she seems to be very successful in her field. And anyways, she's in the library one day, you know, just doing her regular task of pulling transcripts off the shelf and just transcribing essentially what is written. And she ends up pulling this transcript off the shelf that she can tell is under a spell. Like, there's something going on. There's writing there, but she can tell that there's writing underneath. So she knows there's like a cover spell going on. And so she's kind of like, screw that. Like, I'm not really interested in this world. It piques her interest, but not enough to keep it with her. And it all of a sudden sparks this domino effect of all these other creatures. So some vampires and some other witches and some demons all come to Oxford because they sensed that this girl, this witch, was able to pull this volume off the shelf without any problems, and apparently that hasn't been done before. So then there's kind of this whole progression, and a vampire named Matthew kind of comes into the picture, and he's wanting to get the transcript from Diana because he believes it belongs to the vampires, and that the witches took it from him and put a spell on it, kind of thing. So there's kind of a whole progress there, and that's kind of how the story progresses. I won't really give anything else away, I don't think, but I liked it. It was really good. By the end I was like ready to be done the book, but I did find it flowed nicely as I was reading it. The character development was really interesting. I did like the kind of the differentiations between kind of the history of the demons and the history of the vampires and the history of the witches. There was some good development that way to kind of get a better understanding of why they are the way they are now. And Matthew, the character from Matthew, like he's a vampire and he's really old, so we kind of get flashes into the past as to like what his life has been like, and like, you know, why he is the way he is now in, you know, present day. And I found Deborah Harkness did a really good job of creating scenes in the book where a bunch of characters could be involved, but you could still differentiate between them. I liked it. It was good. It's funny because like I'm a month out from reading it, and like I'm feeling kind of like meh about it. Like it was good. It's not something I don't think I'd ever pick up again, but it was well written, and it was one of those books that, like, you know, is on everybody's fantasy list. So I thought I'd give it a go, and I'll probably get to the next couple books maybe in the fall, when I'm kind of back in this kind of mood of wanting to read some fantasy. And then the other one that I picked up from the library and finished in the month of April was called Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered by Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark. And these two women are podcasters. They have a podcast called My Favorite Murder, and I've been listening to that podcast for a few years now. And they came out with this book. It's essentially like a book of essays, kind of autobiographical, where they're more or less offering you advice on how to stay sexy and don't get murdered. And so it was just a nice peek into their lives. And I can't remember what I gave this one on Goodreads, maybe another 4 out of 5. I think overall I'd probably mark it a 3.5 out of 5, if I could do that adjustment. But the fact that I've heard their voices on a podcast before really made it so easy to read the sections written by them in their own voices. I could totally get a sense of when Karen was saying something and when Georgia was saying something, because they write exactly how they would speak, which is kind of a nice change from a lot of books, because typically that's not how a lot of books are written. So I did really enjoy that, and it was a very unorganized book. It didn't have very much structure, which was kind of nice, and the dialogue was just very free, and I just found it to be a very easy, funny read. Like I found myself laughing out loud every few pages, because they had some funny stuff to say. I did really enjoy that book, and I went through that one pretty quick as well. It was one of those books where I felt like, again, I was in like a slump and I just needed something to get me going again. So those are the 3 books I finished in April. Normally I go through more books than that, at least I have in the last few months. But again, like I said, I was kind of in a slump, and I just needed to pick up a couple things here and there. And I mean, you saw that I started a number of things that I also didn't get through. So that's kind of how April was for me. It was not my best reading month, but that's okay. Okay, now I want to talk about the books that I plan on reading in the month of May. So let's start with ones that I already have on the go that I want to finish. The first one is You Are a Badass. I want to finish this bad boy off. It won't take me very long. I go through this book really quick. So that's the first one. The next one that I already have on the go is The Untethered Soul. I'm definitely going to finish this one this month. I might even, after this video, I might just like bang it out and just get her done. Now the next 3 are books that I have not opened yet. I haven't peeled open the cover and, bent the spine of the book yet. So I'm going to talk about those. The first one is the second book in the Chesapeake Bay saga, and this one is Rising Tides. And this one is about the twin brother named Ethan, and there was, in the first book, we already kind of got very briefly introduced to the woman that he's interested in, so I kind of already know what to expect going into it, but it'll be nice to hear his story. His character in the first book was just very soft-spoken and very introspective, so I think this one is going to be nice. Ethan is going to be a nice guy to read about, I think. And also my brother's name is Ethan, so he has a good name. So that's the first one. Then next, this one was not on my docket until yesterday. My boss at work is in a book club himself, and he suggested this one. He actually brought it to work, and he's like, hey, I know you love to read. I really liked this one. I read it, a few months ago with my book club, and I thought maybe you'd enjoy it. So I don't even really know much about it, but it's called Living, Loving, and Learning by Leo F. Buscaglia. So it sounds like my boss was saying it's a self-help book, and he found it really, really helpful. And so I'm kind of excited about it, actually. It's a cute little, it's small, it's really cute, and I am not great with books. I hope I didn't do that. Oh my god, my boss is gonna fire me if I mess up this book. But it seems really nice. What year was it written in? 1982. Damn. So 1982, a self-help book from 1982, we're gonna see. Hopefully it is something that translates well to the current climate of the world. I don't know how quickly I'm gonna go through this one. It depends on how heavy it is. And yeah, I don't go through self-help books very quick, so we'll see. But that's the next one. And finally, last but not least, Marco got this book for Christmas actually, and from his parents, and it's The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Every time you look up dark academia books to read, this one's on the list. So I'm excited to read this one. I don't know at this very moment if I'm feeling like a psychological thriller kind of book. We're gonna have to see. I'm just like thinking of all the books that I have, and I'm trying to think which one I want to read first. I got 3 self-help books this month. Damn, Mama's going crazy. I don't know which one I'm gonna read first. Maybe I will start The Secret History. Or do I want to go Nora Roberts again? Am I still feeling Nora Roberts? Am I still in a slump? No, I don't feel like Nora Roberts right now. Yeah, maybe I will start my... I can't see what I'm flapping over here. Maybe I will start the Donna Tartt book, The Secret History. Yeah. Oh, wow. Thanks for deciding that with me. Sitting here with me and deciding. So yeah, so that's my stack for May. I think it's a pretty good thing. I mean, 2 of them I'm already over halfway through, so that should go pretty smoothly, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And then 3 of them I would be starting. And May is going to be an interesting month for me. I'm not sure how busy I'm going to be. So I guess we're going to see how much time I devote to reading. Thank you for coming along and wrapping up April and starting May and talking about all the books that I failed to finish. It's been really fun. I appreciate doing this with you. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. And if you like videos like this, books and adventures, feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you come back to see my channel. Okay, bye.